these are my friends. Come along with me, see how the story ends.
This episode is brought to you by testkitplus.com. We all know how important it is to prioritize your health and well-being, especially when it comes to recreational activities. That's why we want to tell you about our buddies over there. They can be your go-to resource for high-quality, easy-to-use recreational test kits. Whether you're planning a weekend getaway, attending a music festival, or just having a good time with your friends, it's really important to make sure you know what you're putting into your body. So head on over to testkitplus.com/professional hippies. That way you can be sure you're safe and you have the peace of mind of what you're putting in your body. They have test kits designed to detect a wide range of substances, providing accurate and reliable results in the comfort of your own home. Knowledge is power, so don't leave anything to chance. Again, that's testkitplus.com/professional hippies.
Too late now, buddy. Welcome back to another episode of the Professional Hippies podcast. You have your favorite hosts in the world, of course, Colton and Dylan.
I get to be the
buddy.
favorite? Oh, okay.
What?
I was just wondering if they're picking favorites, who's the favorite?
The little piece of each of us. That's who the favorite is.
Yeah, that's very true. What's up, guys? Hey, on this episode, we're really excited to kind of have like a mind melt. You know, sometimes we have guests on who are professionals who definitely have their stuff together. And I'm not saying we don't have our stuff together, but if you are coming to this episode to learn, you might learn a thing or two. But realistically, unless it's electrical related, hiring an electrician for your electrical related needs, excision, or debating whether or not Biden is fit to roll a wheelchair, I don't know.
Nah. Definitely not. But what we do know is we are tearing our homes apart, and it's fantastic. I'm going this way and getting done, and you're like, I'm deciding to tear down my house, and it's great to listen to that. So
yeah,
but I saw the picture. You got the marbling going up. You're taking it on, big guy, around the fireplace.
So the idea, because I mean, who doesn't love a good project, right?
Who doesn't love tearing down the place that you live in?
Yeah, so we're going for, if you can picture in your mind's eye, one might call it your pineal gland. I don't know if it is that thing you want to open up to picture what I'm trying to get into your brain waves right now, but it's something.
I don't want to get the sawdust in there, so I keep that one closed.
Oh no, don't worry, it's just concrete dust. Another thing I learned, you really should respect a mask. During COVID, I did not. During construction, you should.
Definitely wear a mask anytime with dusty crap. I learned that too when I was working on tiling and all that, busting up tile. Woo.
Especially sheetrock. Like that stuff is just like gets everywhere. And so we're
that is COVID.
Taking
that
down
is literally COVID.
the drywall around the fireplace and concreting, making like an accent wall. So we're hanging the TV up, putting the concrete over it and stuff. So when I took off what was there, naturally you're going to find, hey, they didn't do it the way they should have. So, of course, 5 Home Depot trips later, I think 4 or 5, you know.
Is that a record? That's not a record. No, you've had more.
When we were doing the chicken wire tumbler thing, that was, I hit Ace Hardware, Lowe's, Home Depot, Tractor Supply, AutoZone.
You know how there's Roman tracks? We were creating tracks, like going back and forth to Home Depot on that one.
My favorite part of that process was seeing how invested the guys at AutoZone were, because I was like, I'm not working on a car, I'm building a tumbler. And they're like, what? What do you need fan belts for a tumbler for? So anyway, so I tore down all the stuff. I'm starting to put it back together. My favorite part of this process was figuring out electricity. So I was like, hey, I don't know how to tap into a new circuit, but I know how to move a circuit, because if I just do what the last guy did and assume he did it correctly, I don't have to mess anything up. And so I moved an outlet to the TV, plug in my thingadoo, and my thingadoo tells me, hey, you have an open neutral. I look up, what does that mean? And all the stuff says, hey, you're probably going to burn your house down now. So didn't want to do that. So I called an electrician, and the guy came out and he was like, so what's the problem? And I told him. He checks it with his thingamadoo. And he says, my thingamadoo says it's fine. Actually, my thingamadoo was just incorrect. So that's $250 later.
Mine said
at least I have the confidence.
And I took the plate and I went, nah, let's go to stay neutral. Right there. And Whatever. That's what insurance is for. It's a 52. It's a built in 52. It's lasted this long. We'll see how much longer she got.
Yeah. So, I mean, I did the electrical part right. Now it's when you do, so you're doing the drywall stuff, you're doing the mud, right? You're figuring out
about to start the mud. I got all the stuff.
Oh, you haven't started the mud yet. I'm so excited for you to start that process. Do you have textured walls or are they smooth?
I'm going to keep them smooth. That room's going to be smooth. I ain't going to do the texture in there.
Yeah, that's even harder, by the way.
So I've learned that
texture will make it blend in. Like I have textured walls, smooth walls, you can't hide it. It's got to be baby's butter.
Yeah.
So
that's that room. In case it ever floods again, it's going to stay smooth.
Oh, true. If it's textured, that's just another step you got to do.
Even a texture, Man, every time I keep working on my house though, and I'm doing it at night, I'm like, they never told me homework would continue after school.
But projects are fun. It also amazing how much free information is available on YouTube.
I tell you what, I was putting up this door for my bathroom, and the screws. Remember we talked about it last time, and I did the screw thing you were talking about. Start figuring it out, and I started I couldn't long story short, you fix one thing, and then it was back this way, and then it was too high. The door obviously it's an older frame, whatever. I'm cutting it and everything, and the last thing I kept telling myself was to raise the plate on the trim, the door trim, because I didn't want to raise it because I just thought that's not what you're supposed to do. I literally took a saw. My saw at one point just went up the door to try to cut it and try to figure it out. And eventually I just said, screw this. And I finally just took the plate and I raised it up and drilled the screw through where the thing usually locks in at. Like if you're closing the door and it locks into place, I just raised it up a little bit, screwed it to where it goes into there. And it worked. I just took my chisel, carved it out, and I was like, if I would have just done that from the beginning, this all would have been better. But I didn't. But the doors hung, and it's beautiful.
Doors are like Egyptian technology. So simple, and they will drive you nuts figuring out who decided that we needed all of these things to get from one room to the other.
Go back to beads. We just need beads.
I was going to say.
Put the beads everywhere.
What happened to the beads, man?
What happened to the beads? I want the beads back. It went up.
There was a time and a place where we had big, beautiful peace signs that you would just part and go into a hookah filled room and people chilling on circular couches.
There's a conversation pit right in the middle. You go through the beads. Yeah. Beautiful conversation pit.
Listening to a good Jimi Hendrix record, or some Moody Blues.
Where did we go wrong? Where did it happen, Colton?
Nixon.
Watergate.
I mean, it can all be traced back to Nixon if you think about it.
All the secrets got out with Watergate. Then they were listening in on our conversation pits. Then there was no more. You had no more fun secret.
Speaking of conspiracies that aren't conspiracies, Russia launching a nuke into space. Did you see that?
I didn't, but not surprised.
So leaked information got out that hey. Russia is interested in putting nukes into space to interfere with our satellite capability and or the ability to launch nukes down to create really big EMP fields. And Biden was like, it's not a big deal. We got it under control. Meanwhile, all the other agencies are like, this is a pretty big fucking deal.
At this point, let's just stop talking. Let's see it. Hey, you have to talk the talk, walk the walk, baby. Send it up there. I want to see what we got because we're always going to one up. And if we're being all secretive on the level of we got, we really can't see our power until they show their power. That's how we roll, right? We
don't really, forcing their hand.
We don't really show our
Some may call it
power.
Russian roulette.
Ooh. I'm down for
See what I did there?
Russian nuclear war roulette. Can you
say that 10 times fast?
Russian nuclear war. Little Russian nuclear roulette.
I am not excited for Russian nuclear war.
Man, the bills will stop, and I'm excited. Let's get it going.
true question.
Yeah.
Do you think if a giant EMP field did hit, let's say just America, send us back to the Stone Age, cars don't work, money's obviously a foregone thing. Like you're back to like, you need to figure out how to can food and figure it out. Do you think you could be part of the 1% to make it to the Midwest where you could have resources to survive long term? Because you're not making it in St. Pete.
I'm going up to the Appalachians where free bird will be blasting higher than ever. You'll hear, you know how there's like sirens that go off when the world's going to shit? You'll just hear free bird coming out of the Appalachian Mountains. Or what's the other one?
I cranked some free bird yesterday going to buy a microwave, actually.
What's the one from Vietnam? They were always playing, man, I'm going to get shitted on for that one, but I can't remember it. But you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's their siren. They'll be playing from the Appalachian Mountains like, oh, we've been ready for this. That's where I'm going. They'll know how to survive.
You ever, have you ever considered like you wanted to be born a little bit earlier so you could participate in a world war?
No.
Just to see. Really?
Mm-hmm. I like learning about it more than I do being in it.
Oh, I mean, it's terrible, right? But like the camaraderie, like maybe you come in on the last like 4 or 5 months of the war. You're not in like the...
I would be in, I'd probably say World War II. That would have been.
For sure.
World
War I was pretty rough.
That's a tough one. Gas attacks.
That's a tough
trench
one.
warfare.
Tanks for the first time.
And then Korean Vietnam War. Those are just brutal. Those are just brutal attacks.
No one wanted to be a part of Vietnam. No one wanted to be there.
At least World War II, everyone's against one. Hey, we're all against. Even your enemy. Even our enemy was against. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, or whatever. Basically, at that point.
Yeah, that's true. Or
united.
like some Afghanistan. You think you're finding weapons of mass destruction. You're really just killing innocent women and children.
I think World War II on that one. Because we don't have the drones flying in yet. We don't have.
Yeah. Dude, the Houthis are messing us up with their drones.
We're
launching $4 million sea-to-air ballistic missiles to intercept $10,000 drones.
This drone warfare is nuts. It's literally the testing ground in Russia and Ukraine for drone warfare right now that they're doing. And we're getting all the videos from it. It's nuts.
But did you hear what I said? We have Iranian-backed Houthi groups, rebel groups, that are sending $10,000 to $100,000 drones at our billion-dollar warships, and we're spending $4 million a clip, and we send 2 missiles at a time in case the first one doesn't get it.
Just in case.
Just in case. And I saw some people commenting on that, like, we could just leave the Red Sea, but then again, they're going to attack the merchant vessels that have our oil, and we know how we feel about oil. So, at the end of the day,
it's not like we couldn't just use our own oil for a little while. Texas and Alaska, we're doing just fine in both.
I like
areas.
the fact, the longer I live in Texas, the more I appreciate like we have an independent energy grid. We could be our own country
until it freezes. It just collapses.
Hey, no one said privatizing anything's perfect. Okay. So what? We had to sacrifice a couple people to find some loopholes in the system.
California is against global warming. Texas is like, we need it to survive.
When we went to Burning Man, do you remember seeing the zebras and the antelope on some private ranch? Did you see that?
I don't think,
because I've made that trip a couple times now, just in that general direction or whatever.
You're like, I don't
Some
know.
dude just has so much money. He's got fucking zebras, and I don't know if they're antelope or whatever has like spiral horns going on.
Well, aren't there more tigers in Texas than there are in the rest of the world? I think there's more tigers.
Where's Tiger King? Is he from Texas?
No, I think that's Louisiana. No, I don't even know. That's got to be Florida. But I know there's at least more tigers in Texas than there are anywhere else in the world. That was a brain fart. Remember that one?
Well, I forgot it was Florida too. Texas has some money. Some of that old ranch money and oil money.
And now they're getting that. They got that old ranch money, and they're getting that new tech money. It's coming in from all directions now. Oil money, ranch money, tech money.
I saw a skyline picture of Austin, I think 6 years ago or 10 years ago, and there was like 3 or 4 skyscrapers. Now the whole thing is just giant. Not skyscrapers, but they're, 70, 100 floor. I mean, what is a skyscraper? When does it scrape the sky?
When it reaches the level of when it rains. That's my guess.
That's 10,000 feet. A pregnant black cloud is 10,000 feet.
Oh, well then, I don't know. if a plane can hit.
I would say when your ears pop. When you're on the elevator and your ears pop.
Don't they start popping pretty quickly, though? I mean, you can get... If I go up into a tower in Tampa, my ears pop. It's not very high.
Probably a skyscraper.
Imagine that, though. You live that high, and every time you go up, your ears pop every time you have to go home.
Or you can base jump it. If it's tall enough to base jump.
That's the key. If you can base jump it, that's a skydive. That's a skydive. Yeah. It's a sky tower.
Hey, you know who's going to be skydiving this Friday?
You going to be doing some skydiving?
No, but we're going to see Excision, so it's kind of the same thing.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be awesome. Love some.
Abby peer pressured me into it, and I'm so glad she did.
That's good. What? I'm surprised you need to be peer pressured into that.
How many times have we seen Excision together, you think? At least twice. Maybe 3 times?
At least. Yeah. Twice at least. Yeah.
Every time I've seen him, halfway through, I have to go sit down. That's why.
Pussy.
It's just so much whole time. He doesn't there's maybe 30 seconds where he'll do like a soft build thing, and then he's right back into the break your neck, throw your back out type music. And I can handle it, but when she was excited for it, she'd just been watching the visuals and stuff, and then I was like, I did see the visuals. They are pretty sick. And then I found out that before that, he brings on, what brings people with him, I think Atlians is going to be there and Ray Volp.
I've seen Atlians. Yeah.
Have you?
One? Yeah. I think I saw him.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see them. And then bring out the lasers, man. Ray Volp. He likes lasers. I like lasers. I don't see anything to be upset about.
Can't get any more laser than Excision.
You can't. And the best part too, it wasn't a hard sell, but she was really excited. And I was like, okay, it for sure. But it was definitely Miss Mewborn that drove that one. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, stadiums make sense for Excision, because I feel like every time I've seen him, he's fitting into the confines of what the festival can provide. Yeah. But when you see him in a stadium, that's his shit. He's bringing all the stuff from Lost Lands, and he's like, I can build this out exactly the way I want it to be.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, that's it. Have I ever told you when I first saw Excision back in 2012, and there was not that many people at a show at all? It was at what was it? Show in it was Identity Festival. It was like a touring EDM festival, and Excision was there, Skrillex, Tiesto, the guy that throws the cake, Steve Aoki. Any big name that you know now was there, right? And I went. He was at the Tampa Fairgrounds. You know that big warehouse looking thing that they have there? That's what he was.
Strawberry Festival.
Yeah, no, the Tampa Strawberry Festival is out in Plant City Boondocks, but the Tampa Fairgrounds,
the fairgrounds,
by the casino. So he's playing in that thing, and there's probably a couple hundred people there watching him. Everyone's out at Skrillex and Tiesto and all of them, and he's like, the acoustics fucking suck in here, but I'm just gonna blare whatever I can. So my buddy's crawling on the floor because he found a moon rock on the ground and decided to take that. So he's crawling on the floor way in the back. I'm like, I'm gonna go up to the rail, man. So I go up to the rail, and he's playing.
He found something on the floor and just took it.
Decided to take a moon rock. That turned into him crawling on the floor. I was like, all right, man, I'm going to go up to the front and enjoy the music there. And it was awful. It was shaking the whole place. You could hear everything cracking. But I get up to the rail, and I'm, enjoying it. And I look to my right, and there's just a 13-year-old kid, maybe younger, right next to me. And I was like, hey, man, what's up? And I see an older dude kind of standing right behind him. And I'm like, I don't know how you're here, but I'm just making sure he's with you. Like, because the guy was like, sure. And he's like, yeah, that's my bodyguard. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, that's weird, but all right. So I just start headbanging. And all of a sudden, and I talk with the kid like, hey, you enjoy the show, whatever. Yeah. And all of a sudden I noticed there's like, I have space around me at the front of an excision. Like there is literally space around me at the rail. And I go, what? And the bodyguard goes, hey man, you got space. He enjoys hanging out with you. Just have a good time. Y'all just dance around, whatever. And I was just like, I don't know what's going on, but okay. And we're just like headbanging the extension at the rail and having a good time. And then the show ended. And then I was like, hey man, thanks for the space and good to meet your bodyguard. Good to meet you. See ya. I don't know who that kid is to this day.
On the way out, he's like, favors, party favors, party favors.
Party favors, party favors. But yeah, but that's the weirdest, most interesting situation. The first time I ever saw them, not that many people there, but everyone's crowded up at the rail, of course. And got my little personal bodyguard for a little bit at Excision.
Something I'd like to do is going to like more obscure music festivals. I ran into a buddy we went and saw. Have you heard of a band called Lotus before?
Oh yeah, dude. I like Lotus. He's played at Halloween, but
okay.
Yeah, I like Lotus. Definitely see him.
They came out here to Austin. I had a buddy in town. We went and watched them. And I met up with a friend. Actually, the first guy ever to dose me with acid lives here in Austin, and we reconnected. I didn't know how close he was to me, and so he came out to the show with us. And
so he was like, "You ready for 2 now, or
have you worked in 2, buddy?
Are you ready? Are you prepared?"
He told me about a festival. He's like, "Dude, you got to come to this one." And I was like, "That sounds really hippie granola." And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's the best." I'm like, "Okay, I can get behind that." If someone grunts their teeth when they're describing a festival, it's probably good.
Well, it's a Purple Hatters Ball years ago. That's on the same ground as Halloween, but it's in like I was camping where Spirit Lake was at. Like it was that small of an area.
Nice.
So that was kind of cool to go to. We went to like the one in Denver, So we've been to some smaller ones.
That wasn't too obscure though. That was like
too obscure. Yeah.
I'm talking about like what you went to. Like what you went to, that sounds like some granola, homegrown, non-GMO, free-range hippie shit.
I feel like we're gonna get that at Eclipse. I feel like we're gonna get...
definitely feel like we're gonna get that. If I don't get offered some Palo Santo at least one time, like an aura cleansing at least one fucking time, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, and they got to smell. While they're cleansing me, they also smell. And you're smelling them.
If there's not one chick that doesn't have some armpit hair just being like, oh my God, your energy's so beautiful. Your wife, oh my God, you two are so cute together.
She's like, I do armpit braiding if you'd like to have that sign.
Well, what's also really cool I found is when we go to music festivals and Abby looks as hot as she does, and then people look to me and make the connection that we're together. They're like, oh, that's... You?
And she always, what's funny is I like listening when she realizes the connection and she goes, yeah, bitch. That's her response to that.
Or I'll just be dancing next to her and then I see a guy lock eyes and I can almost hear his thoughts when he's just staring at my wife. Like, soak it in, buddy. It's just free.
It's free. It's free real estate. Free real estate. Dude.
No, but I am excited for Excision because we'll have fucking seats. Eclipse is going to be awesome. Burning Man. I mean, we've got some really good trips lined up this year. I got to submit our camp submission. Application. Approve me for
Kingdom
plot of land.
Act application. This is my space.
What are we going to do though if someone takes our land the way I took someone else's land last year?
I don't know. We take
do we fight them?
Land.
Yes. Well, no, the Indians, they figured it out first. Someone takes your land, you take more land until you got no land left.
That's how we do it.
Yeah.
We'll just drive out into the playa. This is all mine now. Thank you.
I think I've seen a couple people do that, and unless your car looks profoundly fucked up, they don't like it.
Yeah, they're gonna want. You need to put a tail on it or something, to allow you off.
I brought it up to Abby. I was like, what if we had an art car? That'd be pretty cool. And she was like, I'd be really behind that. And I immediately thought, I was like, I am not responsible enough to be around anything motorized.
Hilarious if we got like the little Jeeps that you have when you're a little kid, and you stop it and you're driving. That's your art car.
Do you think we could put some ass in one of those? You know, put like a weed eater engine in it. I'd be more excited to have a DD for my little Jeep car. Have someone that's a designated driver and then put like a 50cc motor in it and just have them cart me around.
Or do the buggy style with like the motorcycle, the moped with the buggy. Onward, James.
My little spinny hat and like one of those little carts that you drag a kid behind in a bike. Just have me in the back of it. And it's just like, Onward, Joe.
Take me on my way with
So anyway, hey, there's a new thing coming out. Have you heard of it?
You know what? I haven't.
I think it's kind of old. Fentanyl. I mean, everyone's doing it these days, and that's not what I talk about. So my buddy and I are actually working on launching this offer. And well, it's already launched, but it's around the idea of job stacking. Have you run into people that have multiple jobs?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it, but if you got the time to do it,
why not?
Go for it. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you recommend it?
Like I could technically job stack right now because I don't start work.
You think so?
I don't start work until 11 o'clock, 12 noon because of my work hour. So I could get a whole other morning of work hour in, but I technically like sleeping in. So that's just me.
Yeah. Well, the tough part is like with what we do in sales, not very stackable. It's not like
I'm already got a stressful job enough dealing with my sales processes. I'm like, I don't want to start my morning off with work and then go into more work for the day.
Yeah. But that's something I'm realizing like more and more in tech, like a lot of the project managers, they don't do much.
And it's all, to me, job stacking, and 100% could be wrong. I feel like the job stacking would be more like customer service type jobs. Like I'm dealing with Netflix call center type thing. I'm doing it from my house.
Even that's like input equals output, right? So more of like you're managing other people, I think gives you the opportunity for leverage where it's just like, hey, Tim, did you do the thing you said you were going to do? Nope. Okay, next week, better get that thing done. And you just report it back to somebody, right? Like that's a position I feel like you can stack pretty easily.
I feel like we need a bunch of hip call centers. Like, how can I help your problem, man?
Controversial take. I don't think hippies are very reliable.
I think they're very nice, and they can get you where you're going. They won't do the job.
They talk
they're a good director.
So much.
They're a good director. They'll get you.
They care too much. That's the problem.
They'll solve your problem, and they want to know what you're having for lunch.
Have you seen the AI salespeople?
Dude, my company played it as a thing of like, oh, this is a typical. This AI call that they're describing came out like years ago. By the way, I don't know if you know the one that I'm talking about, the AI call where the guy's selling some sort of thing, and I go, this sounds exactly like when I'm starting out as a new salesperson, and I do role play with someone, and the other guy is saying the perfect things that I want to be said in order for me to role play back. I'm like, that's exactly what that sounds like. That does not sound like.
But the weird part is that's where it's at right now. Imagine 3 or 5 years from now if they continue to push resources into it.
Yeah, but then they'll figure out a way to, like, a CEO or whatever will learn what to say to figure out if it's an AI thing. Like you can do that currently with like call centers and get them in a loop. And then you figure out like, oh, this is just an automated system. I don't 00000, get out of there.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, that's the thing that I think is pretty promising about AI is the ability for a lot of like businesses to scale and not need employees. I mean, it's not great for like the general workforce, but
I don't think so. Cause I'm seeing it here in I'll give you a great example, right? I went from one job that had they were focusing so much on technology, and then they didn't focus on the human aspect of it in HR. And companies, when they have problems going on with their HR or anything, they want to get on the phone, get the problems off, get off, be done with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they want to be able to explain, and especially in like business with HR needs for whatever reason, every situation is a very specific thing. Like if I need a payroll, I need my check. Sure, I can just log in, get my check, get out of there. But I got like an employee that's doing this. How do I handle the paperwork? Blah, blah, blah. And so they want to get on the phone, get it done within 24 hours. Whereas an automated situation, you can't really explain your situation very specifically to them, right? Because it's always a new situation coming up. It's always a new situation that's coming up. Whereas, sure, maybe if you have 1,000 people have the same problem, but that's not what's happening, because I have to deal with problems every day where the company I'm working with hasn't even dealt with the problem before. And then I'm having to jump in and help save it in order to make the sale and do whatever. But then I'm working for a company now that's very more human aspect instead of the technology side. And they're doing way better than the other company that was doing more focused on the tech side. Like more people are leaving that company now that was so focused on tech and less on the people, and moving to the companies that are more focused on the people. They're willing to take a stand back on the tech side to be able to get help from a human asset. And that's literally CEOs, VPs, everything that I'm talking to every day, where they're like, hey, I just want to be able to talk to someone. So sure, it might get more and more better, but it's not going to be the same. Like if I'm a business owner, I want to talk to someone and get my problem resolved as quickly as possible. Not someone going through a series of, like, I mean, think about when you get on the phone and you're talking like, if you're having this problem, press 2. Okay, now that you have this problem, press this. Okay, now this problem, press this. That's in essence what it's going to be doing. Whereas if I get on the phone, explain my problem, they go, oh, I know exactly what's going on. I know who to go to. We'll get it resolved super quick.
I mean, two things can be true, right? Like if you think about what like a very basic entry level sales rep can get done without much nuance and capture like the 15% of leads that are going to say yes no matter what, and they can take a language model and have it trained on the past 3, 4, 5,000 calls that high performing rep has done. I think that's where there's an opportunity for leverage. I mean, I agree. I think like no time in the short term future is that going to be something that's like totally automated.
Where I think it would come in as more of a sped up process would be the person's coming to me with the problem, and then I go into the AI function tool that the company has, and I'm typing out the problem, and then the AI function goes, here's our tools that we have in place that would help resolve that problem. And then I am now working with the customer to be able to resolve that. But think about like selling Cutco. You know, it's not like, sure, someone could call in and be like, here's my problems, but that's such an in-person sales process, right? Like they want to be able to sell, they want to talk to someone. Plus, if Cutco completely relied on AI, sales would tank. You know that. That's such a person-to-person relationship type of
Let me ask you this. What is a typical problem that you just in general have?
With I would say with a typical problem with like in life, or with like people I talk to.
Just in life. Just in life. Yeah.
Trying to find, like with my house, trying to like, either I got to figure it out on my own or find a contractor that knows how to do the process. And it's usually small things, right? Like I'm not building a home. It's like I like all my window trim redone around the house. And like, I can figure it out. It'll take me a while, or I can pay someone to do it in a day.
Well, I think like another thing you could potentially explore, like especially when we're trying to figure stuff out, like it's not uncommon when we're feeling fatigued, you know, like exercising, additional brain power, having the ability to call on faculties that typically isn't there. And I mean, for me, like when I get up in the morning, one of the problems that I have is that I feel like groggy, you know, just not thinking correctly. So that's why I'd like to tell you about our friends over at Magic Mind, because these guys have an awesome solution for any time you're feeling like, hey, I need some mental energy, I need some focus. It actually helps coffee too. So you can take this with your coffee if you like to be caffeinated, have less stress, not have so much anxiety. They actually sent Abby and I a supply, and I got to check it out. That was pretty cool. So the thing about it, hey, you want to try it for multiple days because it doesn't have a bunch of the gnarly stuff in it. It's all natural. It's got matcha, ashwagandha, lion's mane, cordyceps, all that kind of good stuff in it. And I really do mean it. We wouldn't have them on the episode as a partner if we didn't believe in it. And if you guys want to try it out, head on over to Magic Mind. We've got a really cool opportunity for you to get really hooked up here. So if you go to magicmind.com/hippies20, you can get up to 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days with our code. And the other cool part, Dylan, is that 20% is actually going to be locked in, whether it's this order or for life. You can get hooked up and have a Magic Mind. Thank you guys over at Magic Mind. We are kind of like rolling this in, but it is a legit product.
Oh, yeah? Whoa. What has happened? What is happening?
Dude, I told you, take the Magic Mind after the episode.
I know, man. I don't know what I did.
Dude, don't change it. Don't change it.
I can't.
Oh, man.
I do not know what I did.
That's okay. I mean, Christmas isn't for a while, so I know it took a long trip for you, Dylan, to get down from Santa's workshop, but what you been working on up there, buddy?
Don't forget your towel. Anybody want to get high? Hold on, we're pausing.
It's okay.
Sorry about that, folks. Sorry. Back.
Falsetto, Barretto.
Took too much nitrous in the opposite direction.
I don't think so. I think that's exactly the direction. That was awesome, by the way. I'm impressed that it was a simple fix, but
I still don't know how that happened. I think Roadcaster said, "I'm gonna want to watch this." I think Roadcaster took us for a loop on that one.
That's okay. That's all right. We all have our little closet habits, don't we?
Yeah, a little too much helium.
Mm-hmm. Well, other than that, buddy, what else you got come up that you're excited about?
Man,
aside from your identity,
honestly. Going to New York,
yeah,
this weekend. That's gonna be good. Christy and I are going up there, get to see get the play. Gonna go to some museums. Gonna go to some nice places, steakhouses, and all this fun stuff. We were like, oh man, New York, we probably got to worry about stuff, and then we realized, oh no, we're going in the dead of winter. There's not gonna be a problem trying to get into any place up there. I feel like reservation.
Have you guys already looked ahead to see if you're gonna have any reservation issues or anything like that?
Yeah, we've already looked ahead. There's a spot on Governor's Island it's a cool outdoor sauna spa thing that we're gonna go do that overlooks the city. So we're gonna go do that at night. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
looking forward to that. Trying to plan the honeymoon. Thinking Japan and the Philippines. A couple of places we're looking at.
I'm very impressed. You're following through on the honeymoon. We haven't.
And then July, we're going to be looking at. I'm going to figure out how to bring out all this equipment to Bulgaria. We're going to go to Bulgaria for a month in July. Yeah, so
really?
I have to figure out how to do recordings over there with all my equipment.
What's the time zone difference?
24 hours, basically.
Really?
Let's go. Let's look at it. Hold on. Time in Bulgaria right now. They'll do Sophia.
It's not 24 hours.
It's 4:15 a.m.
4:15. So what is that? That's 20-hour difference.
Yeah.
No. It's 4:15 a.m.
10, 11, 12, 7 hours.
For me, that'd be an 8-hour difference.
7 hour difference. Or 8 hour difference.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah.
That's not bad. Just do morning.
For your work, because you do West Coast work, what's that going to look like for your work?
I just got to work at night. I'll be working at night over there. It'll be like I'm back doing night auditing at hotels again. I'm just working all night and then trying to go have a normal life.
That is a cool part. You have that experience where you're like, I'll just turn this gear back on, just kind of flip the switch, because you've already done it before. So, it's like, oh, I can do that. Whereas most people would be like, I could never do that,
Oh, yeah. I'll be able to do it over there. That'll be easy for me. That's the one benefit of having such a shitty sleep schedule is you can go to Bulgaria and kind of have a normal life for a bit.
One of the things I thought about actually when I was doing the construction project is like, I'm really glad in our 20s we pushed it, not just party wise, but like personal development wise, because now when I do stuff, like when I was taking the electrical part and some of the other stuff, I was like, it's just daunting. It's not crazy hard, but you like pull your wall apart and you're like, can I actually put this shit back together? And then you remember other stuff that you've done. You're like, oh, I figured that out. I can figure this out. It's the same thing with work. It's like, I'm glad I invested all that time when I really wanted to be partying and not taking life seriously. Because now it's like, as I'm learning new skills, like we're going to be entering the era of kids soon where balancing multiple things.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, we still were rocking in it, during those early 20 years and trying to learn in early development. What was fun though, was while we were partying and having a good time, everyone else is also partying with us. But what they didn't all realize is we were also doing the learning part on the side.
Right.
So we were still doing the learning part and working hard while also somehow maintaining a social life.
And the cool part is too, like, I feel like the older I'm getting, the more I can appreciate how many other people were doing that too. Because I guess like in our bubbles, for me at least, like it didn't really feel that way. It felt like I was like kind of alone aside from the people I would associate from like work or whatever. I mean, that's naturally how we kind of fell into a cadence with each other. But the more I think I've developed professionally, and I'm just getting around more and more people where it's like I'm the small fish in a big pond type of deal.
It's what this podcast is about, right? Like we're getting higher up and higher up in the professional space, you realize like, oh, I'm not, like you said, I'm not the outlier. Now there are a lot more people like me that have made it this far that are also kind of like, yeah, we're professionals. We know how to handle and take care of our shit and also have a good time. Like that's how.
And you see people swing it right in the other direction. You're like, whoa, you work a bit too much, but they love it. Like that's the other thing I've had to like get my head around, is that some people genuinely love to just grind. Like they love the game of business, and I can appreciate it. I wouldn't say I love to work like 24/7.
I feel like the loving to work is going to come more when the kids come around, so I don't have to be around the children. I can just constantly work. And
do you think you're going to be a good dad?
I think I'll be a really good dad. I learned a lot of how not to be a good dad. So learn from those lessons and carry that on.
How old was your dad? How young was your dad when he had you?
I think 22, 21, 22, something like that. Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of it is. I think.
Well, his dad passed away when he was like 20, early 20, 22, 23, something like that. His dad passed away. His dad wasn't around much. So he learned how to raise a kid without his dad being around. When I went and did that thing about my, learning about his dad experience, his dad wasn't around. They didn't get around. So I have multiple generations of no one having a dad. So my dad was the first one to actually be around for his kid growing all the way up, and he's still around.
Yeah.
And so he just didn't know how to do it as I got older because his dad wasn't around pretty much as he got older. So he was just winging it. And I just learned from that of being like, all right, he did his best, as far as what he knows about. So now I am like, all right, I learned the lessons that he did. My dad broke the cycle. I don't know how he survived on the amount of beer and dip and everything else he's taken in his life, but he's still here kicking, thank God. And so I just know now, like like the times he would just be like so frustrated because he's like the type of I tell you once and you should know how to do it. And I'm like, Dad, I'm like 7. You need to tell me a few more times to figure out how to do it.
Dude, what hit me in the feels the other day is I don't know, like I'm putting together a new mix and I'm taking Evan's drunk voicemails and like making that a part of the opener. And I saw a voicemail from my dad and I listened to it. It was so good. You know what? I'm gonna bring this in because it's short. It's like 10 seconds, but man, I love the way he would frame things. Let's see. Come on. Hold
Turn
on now,
Dad. Up on your mic when you do it.
Can you hear me now?
Dad, just give me a holler when you get out of your meeting and try to anchor something down. I called Dusty. He's not feeling well. Whatever, his butt hurts. So I don't know. Give me a holler.
When you just hear something like that, you're like, that is my dad. You know, like sometimes we like will.
That's very loving. Like he's caring about you guys. He's like, I don't know, he's butthurt or something, but you give me a call back.
Yeah, man. It just hit me in the feels. I was like, do you save old voicemails or do you delete them pretty quickly?
I delete them pretty quickly, but I've started trying to save them now. Like I've tried, but I don't know. I have to like figure out how to download it. I just currently have a few sitting, but it's getting too big. And I just need to kind of put them off the side. But I've learned that's probably important to start doing, you know, saving some good voicemails.
I think I have quite a few from Thancha. She leaves the sweetest voicemails. And those are the ones I hang on to. It's like, you know, you get like just a really good, genuine, heartfelt, or someone blacked out and you're like, man, that is how blackmail comes to fruition. Blacked outness, voicemail. You marry them together, you get blackmail.
That's where
we're gonna clip that.
You ask someone,
that's
your
pretty
buddy
good, actually.
to do something and he's not doing it, and you're like, well, let's see what the jury says.
Did you say I do to that woman? Because this voicemail tells me something different.
That was looks like the Vegas dates, weren't they?
Dude, that core one of my core memories, I wouldn't say like the highlight, but one of my core memories was laying on the bench, seeing the sun come up on the final day. My stomach hurt so bad. I had no gas left in the tank because all I had was like Frito Lay's chips for 12 hours to eat. I'm just laying there waiting for the sun to come up. I'm like, just take me. All right, I'm ready to go into the white light. I'm so done with this trip. I'm ready to go home.
I was so ready to get out of that place.
So ready.
Please stay home.
And I think that's how you do Vegas right. So I'm good. I'm happy for a change with Key West. That'll be nice.
Key West is gonna be awesome. Yeah, for a buddy of ours, we're going to Key West for his bachelor party, and then I'm going. Funny enough, I've never been to Key West, and now I'm going twice this year. I'm going on a cruise with Christy and a couple other friends to Key West this year, and then all of a sudden I'm going later in the year. So it was like,
are you going from Tampa around the Keys, or from Keys to
Miami,
Bahamas?
To a private island, to Key West, and then back to Miami.
To a private island.
Yeah. Some of the cruises
they have little children you can rent there.
Some of the cruise companies have private islands that they set up as like a big like lounge park and everything. And so like they're like quick, cheap cruises you can do to their private islands. It's pretty cool.
We like cheap things, don't we?
What's up, Jelly Bean? Welcome to the show.
He misses you.
Jelly Bean.
He's like, where's the guy when he lays on the floor? You know, I don't know, this triggered a random memory. You remember the first time you slept with me, Dylan? Do you actually remember the first time you slept with me?
Was that when I was sleeping on the floor in the small little thing, and then you were like, you can just sleep up here if you want, and I was like, I don't really want to, man, because that was like the third time I met you. I was like, all right. And you're like, dude, it's all right. It was funny because that's what exactly how we slept was like how I used to do it with a friend back in like when I was younger, and we would sleep opposite just because of that. Like when you're young, you're like 9 or whatever with your buddies.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, fine. It was more comfortable than the floor, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. You tried to convince me like it's good for my back. I'm like,
It's good.
You're
It
just
was
uncomfortable sleeping in the bed with me.
If your back ever hurts, just lay on the floor for a while. It does feel good on your back. That wasn't joking about that. It's like straightens out your back a little bit. It's nice. But you're right. I do think remember what else? That.
I was just like, dude, sleep in bed. I ain't into none of that homosexual stuff. I heard you're from Florida too. I know what goes on up there.
I knew what goes on in them Panama City. I know what happens over there.
Well, I think what else is going to happen on this episode, if you enjoyed it, is liking and subscribing and staying out of our DMs. We hate it when you guys tell us how much you love the episodes and what you want to see more of. So don't do it. Okay? And if Jellybean has anything to say about it, he's going to come track you down and beg for treats if you don't follow us. So hammer that home. Folks. Dylan, you got anything else for the people that also like to sleep on floors?
Don't sleep on floors. Sleep with your friends. See ya.
Oh, that's so cute.